I'd be happy to comment. Yes. The amendment recommended itself for the better administration of justice. As a practicing attorney, and I'm sure the defense bar, are always interested in the ability to have bail conditions imposed, in this case by the police, reviewed. Because circumstances change. The person may have gone through some altering of their conduct, or the circumstances around the reasons for the conditions may well have changed, and it is always good to have the ability to present that reviewable case to a magistrate. And so in that sense, it was eminently supportable. In terms of, we generally press on with the legislation in its form and reject amendments if they don't follow or support the policy of the government. That's generally the reason for the rejection of amendments. This House is a place, though, where there are lots of good minds, other lawyers, but mostly they're legislators, and we all have a way and we have a capacity for vetting legislation, and so it's good to accept it when it recommends itself.
Will this slow down that legislation? If it will, how much longer will it take?
No, all of the PACE legislation, by the way, is coming in phases. I didn't make the point with any robustness earlier, but when Phase 4 comes in, many of the provisions that we've been adding on to PACE will fall away and be supplemented by a compendious new Phase 4 PACE legislation. And so we're putting these things in place in anticipation of the Phase 4 of PACE coming into effect.
Given the rate at which the guns have been going off,
yes,
and given the onset of summer, will this legislation couldn't be expected to be in place this summer? The shooting started 2 years ago.
Yes. The court is in place. The proper holdings are in place. I know that the consultant, Mr. Crampton, is anxious to see this get in place by the summer. But I'm not going to commit myself to this because I've forgotten the timeline for Phase 4 rolling in. It is certainly this summer, and I can't remember the actual point of the summer season that we will roll it out. Suffice to say that these two elements, the firearms amendments last week and this bail piece, were the last pieces, but for one final phase, which I've just passed through my office. This is the PACE amendments to introduce Phase 4, and once that goes through Cabinet tomorrow or next Tuesday, we'll position ourselves well to get the Phase 4 lined up. And the increased shootings have been responded to well, may I say, by the new Minister of National Security, with all of the initiatives that he's been both putting in the public domain, and he's now making good on that with legislation. That too is the subject of new legislation to extend it was the subject of his ministerial statement this morning, to extend the ability to go for the guts of crime, thugs, gangsters, which is their money, and any assets. That is it's a fairly standard, best practice way of suppressing this menace.